Did you know that 90% of top lenders in the United States use FICO score to decide whether to lend money or not? Yes, you heard it right. It's a big deal. And whether you're a college student, a young professional, or a seasoned investor, it's crucial to understand what credit scores are all about. Credit scores are like the adult version of report cards. Instead of grading your math or history performance, they evaluate your financial reliability. They are three-digit numbers that tell lenders, landlords, and sometimes even employers whether you're a risky bet or a safe investment. Two of the major players in the credit scoring game are Vantage score and FICO score. They are like the Coca-Cola and Pepsi of credit scores, each with their unique recipe for determining your score. The higher your score, the more likely you are to get that loan, land that apartment, or secure that dream job. But here's the real kicker. Although they range from 300 to 850, Vantage score and FICO score don't always agree on your creditworthiness. Why? Because they use different ingredients in their secret sauce. And speaking on secret sauce, with you hitting the like button and being a subscriber, it helps promote this channel on YouTube. How they weigh factors like payment history, credit utilization, and the length of credit history can result in different scores. For instance, paying your rent late might not hurt your Vantage score as much as it would your FICO score. Conversely, your FICO score might not give you credit for those utility bills you've been diligently paying, while your Vantage score does. And while it might seem like a minor difference, it can have major consequences. Imagine applying for a mortgage and being turned down because of a discrepancy in your scores. It's like being the valedictorian of your class, but flunking the entrance exam to your dream university. Knowing the difference between these two scores can be a game changer for your financial health. So, let's dive in. Both Vantage score and FICO score range from 300 to 850, but don't let that fool you into thinking they're the same. So you might be wondering, if both of these scores have the same range, what's the big deal? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive into the nitty-gritty of these two scoring models. At first glance, Vantage score and FICO score might seem like identical twins. They both use similar factors in their calculations, such as your payment history, credit utilization, and length of credit history. But like twins who wear the same clothes but have different favorite ice cream flavors, these scores weigh these factors differently. Think of it like a cooking recipe. Both scores have the same ingredients, but the secret lies in the proportions. For instance, your Vantage score might be a bit more lenient if you've had a late payment. It's like that forgiving friend who doesn't mind if you're a few minutes late to the party. On the other hand, your FICO score, not so much. It's more like that punctual friend who starts the movie without you. Additionally, your Vantage score adds some extra spices to the mix. It might consider your rent and utility payments in its calculations. Your FICO score, however, keeps it simple and doesn't include these payments. Now you might be thinking, well, that's all well and good, but which score is better? The answer, my friend, is as clear as a foggy day in London. It really depends on the lender. Some might have a sweet tooth for your Vantage score, while others might have eyes only for your FICO score. So what's the moral of the story? It's important to keep an eye on both scores. Understanding the differences between them is like knowing both sides of a story. You get a more complete picture. But how do these differences impact your score? Let's find out. While both scores might seem similar on the surface, it's the details that make all the difference. Let's delve into the nitty-gritty of Vantage score and FICO score, shall we? Firstly, let's talk about late payments. We all have those oops moments, right? Maybe you forgot to pay your credit card bill because you were too busy binge-watching your favorite show. While both Vantage score and FICO score consider your payment history, how they treat your occasional lapses can be quite different. Your Vantage score is like that understanding friend who doesn't hold grudges. It may be more forgiving of a late payment here and there. On the other hand, your FICO score, it's a bit more like that strict teacher from high school who'd mark you tardy if you were a minute late. It may penalize you more for those late payments. Now, let's move on to another key difference. Imagine you've been diligently paying your rent and utilities on time, thinking, hey, this has got to count for something, right? Well, with Vantage score, it does. Vantage score might take into account your rent and utility payments, giving you some credit for being a responsible tenant and utility user. It's like getting a gold star for adulting. However, your FICO score, it doesn't really care about those payments. It's more focused on how you manage your credit obligations. So you see, while Vantage score and FICO score might seem like they're the same, they're as different as cats and dogs. They might both be credit scores, but they have their own unique behaviors and characteristics. Knowing these differences can help you manage your credit better. It's like knowing the rules of the game before you play. And remember, the better you play, the higher your score. So, keep these differences in mind the next time you're thinking about your credit score. It might just give you the edge you need to boost your credit health. So, you may be asking which score is better. Now this is where the plot thickens, my friends. You see, it's not really a matter of one being universally better than the other. Nope. It's more about which score your lender prefers. Imagine you're at a dance-off. You've got two judges, one who loves a good old-fashioned waltz, and another who's all about that hip-hop groove. If you're trying to impress the waltz lover, you'd better know your box steps. But if you're aiming to get the hip-hop lover's vote, you'd better bring out your best breakdance moves. In the same vein, some lenders might be more inclined towards the Vantage score. Let's call them the waltzers. They appreciate the comprehensive view that the Vantage score offers, including factors like rent and utility payments. These lenders might be more forgiving of a late payment or two, understanding that sometimes life just gets in the way of prompt bill payment. On the flip side, there are lenders who are diehard fans of the FICO score, our hip-hop enthusiasts. They might be a bit stricter, penalizing you more for late payments. But hey, they also place a lot of weight on long-term credit history, so if you've been consistent with your credit over time, these lenders might be your biggest fans. So, which one should you focus on? Well, it's kind of like trying to win that dance-off. You've got to know your audience, or in this case, your lender. It's crucial to understand which score your potential lender prefers and tailor your credit behavior accordingly. But here's the twist. Just like a good dancer needs to be versatile, you can't solely focus on one score. Both scores matter. It's important to keep tabs on both your Vantage score and your FICO score, understanding the differences and how each one can impact your creditworthiness. So, the next time you're wondering which score is better, remember it's not about picking a favorite, it's about understanding the dance. And at the end of the day, remember both scores matter. So that's the lowdown on Vantage score and FICO score. We've journeyed into the nitty-gritty details of these two common credit scoring models, and by now, it should be clear that understanding the nuances between them is not just for the financial savvy, it's for anyone who's got a stake in their financial future. And let's be real, that's all of us. Let's do a quick recap. Both Vantage score and FICO score range from 300 to 850, but they're not identical twins. They're more like siblings, same family, different personalities. How they weigh factors like payment history, credit utilization, and length of credit history can result in different scores. For instance, Vantage score might not be as harsh on a late payment as FICO score. It even takes into account rent and utility payments, which FICO score doesn't. But remember, this doesn't make one inherently better than the other. Just like picking a favorite sibling, it depends on who you ask. Some lenders might lean more towards Vantage score, while others swear by FICO score. The key takeaway here is to keep a close eye on both scores. It's like keeping tabs on two friends who always have different versions of the same story. Knowing both sides can only give you a more accurate picture. So whether you're planning on buying a new car, applying for a mortgage, or just want to keep your credit health in check, understanding your Vantage score and FICO score can make a world of difference. It's not just about the numbers. It's about knowing what those numbers mean and how they can impact your life. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe for more financial tips and advice. Until next time, keep those scores high.